What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys are well aware now, 24 hours ago, the Chicago Bulls were in a very jam-packed trade deadline where multiple teams were making trades to try and save their season and try to get better. However, the Chicago Bulls were one of the only teams in the NBA this season to not make a trade by the trade deadline. Now, there are a couple of other teams, to be fair, but this is the second straight season, I believe, maybe even the third straight season, the Bulls did nothing by the trade deadline, and fans are not very happy about that. Now, what's my take on the situation? Well, I'm going to be reading a lot of quotes today from Arturas Karnisovas himself, but I'll give my opinion as well in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and I guess this entire situation with no trades being done. We didn't trade Alex Caruso, we didn't trade DeMar DeRozan, we didn't trade Zach LaVine, we didn't trade Andre Drummond, we didn't trade Nikola Vucevic. We did absolutely nothing in this trade deadline. What are my initial thoughts? Well, look. Last season, when I made the exact type of video as this, I was fuming with the Chicago Bulls. I was. Because it was so desperately needed. We needed something to happen and nothing happened. This season, it's the exact same thing. But the reason why I'm not screaming and shouting and throwing everything across the room is because I expected this to happen. Again, the players we were linked to trading are the exact same players the Bulls have said early on in the season they wanted to keep. They wanted to keep DeRozan, they wanted to keep Caruso, they wanted to keep Drummond. So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised that we didn't do anything. I really think we could have got a Zach LaVine trade over the line if he was healthy, but other than that, this was an expected result. The vast majority of the Chicago Bulls fans that have been listening to the reports for the entire year would have known this is probably going to be the outcome for the Chicago Bulls. Now, does it make it any easier? Absolutely not. It sucks that we're falling into mediocrity again, and we're happy with mediocrity. It absolutely sucks that this Bulls team doesn't find a way to get better, yet every other team finds a way to get better. It absolutely sucks in that regard, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I'm not upset with the situation. I am very upset with the situation, but how could I sit here and throw tantrums when I expected this to happen? I just can't throw a tantrum over something I thought would happen anyway. So that is the frustrating part. This Bulls team did what we all expected them to do, and that is nothing. I remember, I think even today, it was, watching a King of the Fourth Quarter video, who, if you don't know him, I don't know how you don't know him, but he's a Chicago Bulls fan. He gave a rant about his team today, and he mentioned something very interesting, which I knew for a fact, but I think it was, out of all the teams that did trades by the trade deadline, we have only made one trade, which is the lowest in the league in terms of, I guess, the trade deadlines over the last couple of years. We've done one trade since 2021, and that was getting rid of 2 second-round picks for 1 second-round pick, in which that second-round pick ended up being Julian Phillips. And the team above us, that is second last, has 6. So the second worst team in terms of trades have made 7 trades. We've done 1, and the difference is 6. That is unbelievable. So the stagnation is a really big problem for the Chicago Bulls, and I really don't know where to go from here in terms of this Bulls team. We know the buyout market is going to have to be an option for the Chicago Bulls, but is there a true player that's going to come out from the buyout market and make us that much better? I mean, Patrick Beverley made us better last season. He was a buyout option. Tristan Thompson didn't make us any better the season before. So we know that's probably where we're going. We know there's probably someone that we're going to sign from the buyout market. But we needed a lot more. Again, this is mediocrity. And this is why I'm going to read Arturas Karnisovas' quotes. Because I truly think he doesn't believe this is mediocrity. But it is mediocrity. It's as simple as that. Let's put it this way. If there was no play-in tournament, we're talking about trying to compete for the playoffs and everything like that. If there was no play-in tournament, last season we would not have made the playoffs. We didn't anyway. And if we make the playoffs this season, guess what? Through the play-in tournament, if that was not a thing, we would not make the playoffs this year. It's as simple as that. That is not competitive in my eyes. You take it back to 10 years ago and you finish in the 9th seed, where does that get you? It gets you into the lottery. That's what it gets you. because it doesn't get you to a championship. It doesn't get you to the playoffs. So to me, this is purely and simply mediocrity. But let's read some of his quotes that have come out. Now, I'm reading this from an article from NBC Sports Chicago. I didn't actually watch the interview. All I've seen is quotes. But here's some of the things that he had to say. First off, he said, "Since I came to Chicago, I wanted to have a competitive team. We came up with a formula in 2021. We had somewhat success. We took obviously a step back with some injuries. But my objective doesn't change. I would like to compete with the best teams," Karnisovas said. This particular team showed they can compete with the best, and that's what I'm excited for with 30 games left. Sorry, I read that pretty poorly, but look, there's clearly a gap in what we find as competitive. If you're looking at a game-by-game basis, well, look, we are we played the most minutes in the clutch. We have the most overtime games. If that's what you're looking at as competitive, then fine. We're a competitive team. We can beat the best, we can lose to the worst. But that doesn't make us competitive. You know what that makes us? Average. It makes us average. If you could beat the best Minnesota Timberwolves team that there is, but you can lose to the Detroit Pistons earlier on in the season, that makes you average. That does not make you a competitive team. The 9th seed with a minus 500 record speaks for itself. That does not make us competitive, and that is the microscope that we have to look at. You can look at the clutch games all you want. You can look at how close we are in games. You can look at how often we get blown out. I'm sure those stats are in favor of Arturas Karnisovas and the fact that he wants to be a competitive team. In game-by-game basis, yes, we are competitive with every team in the East and the West. But we don't win those games. And that is simple as that. He even says a little bit later, it's a result-based business, and he will have to take responsibility for the failures. So if we don't get out of the play-in tournament this season, we're exactly where we were last season, in mediocrity land. And he's going to have to take the brunt of that responsibility, and I hope he knows what's coming for him there, because it's not going to be a pretty sight for the vast majority of Bulls fans. But let's continue on. Any adjustments in the future we have to make, I'm very positive about as well. We control our pick this year. We're going into free agency. We're pretty positive. Well, I'm not so positive with free agency, because at the end of the day, the rumors and the suggestions are you're going to keep the same team around. There's a very good chance you're going to be paying Patrick Williams. There's a very good chance you're going to be paying DeMar DeRozan. You're going to be keeping Alex Caruso around. Drummond's on a cheap contract, so if you get rid of him, you're only getting $3 million back in return. Yes, you have to trade Zach LaVine, but you're going to have to trade him for salary filler if you're going to be that excited about free agency this season. In my opinion, you're going to see what you saw last season, and that's some role players come into this team and try to change their dynamic in small ways. And it's clear with the big three that we have, it's simply not going to work out for the Chicago Bulls. Let's talk a little bit more here when he talked about, I guess, there's something else here. He said, "I think there are so many positive stories around this team." This is something else. Where's the positivity around this team? Kobe White, development, fantastic. O's development, fantastic. But there's a lot of negatives in this team as well. The second half performances come to mind. That was a big negative story. The fact that we can't put all four quarters together is a negative story. You have to talk about both sides if you're going to mention stuff like this. Yeah, there's some positive stories around this Bulls team. I'm not going to lie to you and say there isn't. But you can't tell me there's no negative stories on this team either. And that is something that we need to talk about as well. Picture both sides of the story. We are minus 500 for a reason. You can't tell me there's no negative stories that's coming into this situation. Here's something else that he said. What we did in 2021, we turned our roster around this summer. In that summer, I think we showed we can be aggressive. At this particular moment, especially at this trade deadline, most teams in the league are trying to win, and it's a buyer's market. We are going to stay competitive and try not to take any steps back. This is a massive quote, because how do you expect the Bulls to be better, to play better, to become a better team, if you're not one of the pictures in the buyout market, or the buyer's market, let's say? You know, you just said it yourself. The Philadelphia 76ers, ahead of us in the table, got better. The New York Knicks, ahead of us in the table, got better. Even teams like the Bucks and Boston got better. There's a lot of teams that got better in this trade deadline. How are you going to tell us that there was no way that we could get better this trade deadline? You can't tell me that with a straight face and expect me to believe you. In all honesty, I can't be that guy that just blindly believes you. I can't. Because I've seen what other teams did. I saw what other teams did last trade deadline when there was a lot more trades and a lot more impactful situations going on. So us sitting here and doing nothing does not make us better. It makes us the same in a competitive environment where everybody else just got better. Simple as that. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.